It's not just you and I. It's the veteran PBA player teamed with the young PBA player, the touring player of today with the veteran of yesteryear. And it's a generation gap bridger here. And the team that's bridged that gap the best is the one that's in first place tonight. And that's the team of Morrow and Spezio.
Well, let's take a look at the stepladder, though, as far as the teams that made the telecast this evening. Dick Weber and Mark McDowell head up the list.
McDowell, who was second just about 3 weeks ago in Tucson, bowling with a living legend himself, Dick Weber.
And they'll match up against Chet Didzina and also Dennis Jakes.
Didzina's been on the PBA Tour since I can remember. Denny is a very straight player, keeps the ball in play. Jakes, in a bit of an off year, wants to remedy that tonight.
And the only senior to shoot 300 this week, Bill Beach, will team with Mats Carlson.
A couple of firsts here. Beach won our first seniors event in Harvey, Louisiana in 1980. And Mats Carlson won the tournament as a first foreign player just last year.
And the dark horse team, Les Sisler and Ron Palumbi Jr. bowling out of the number 2 spot.
Les Sisler, a former doubles player of mine, he used to hold me up all the time. And Ron Palumbi, who's been very steady this year, but yet to enter the winner's circle.
And on top of the talented stack this week, Mickey Spezio and Rowdy Morrow.
2 players that go very straight, 2 players that have never won a PBA event. They say they want to correct that tonight, and both of them win their first PBA title.
Mike, what about the difference in format? The players will be bowling 5 frames on just one specific lane.
It's kind of a Scotch doubles type format. You only have to worry about the one lane that you're responsible to hit, but a little bit of strategy comes in here, Denny, as far as choosing which lane you want the touring player to bowl on and the touring and the senior to bowl on, plus trying to get the strategy of whether you want the senior to finish last or the touring player to finish in that 10th frame.
Well, without a doubt, it's something old and something new here in Green Bay, Wisconsin this evening. Stay tuned for the opening match coming up next. Tonight's telecast is for match number 1. Chet Didzina will throw the opening shot on the left-hand lane. He's got to be excited, Mike. First time ever on national television.
And what's interesting is just last year, Chet had an operation on his right ankle, and he had that ankle fused, and he was explaining to me what happened there, but it's actually the bones are put together with some pins, and the bone grows together as one solid, so he can't bend that ankle forward.
Ooh. How about a little help? The 9-pin stands.
Well, he almost started with a bad break of a 4-9 right away. All week long, if Chet has had a weakness, it's been in making spares. He's missed a lot of spares this week. So this 9-pin's no gimme here.
207.61 average. Not bad for a gentleman that's 62 years of age. Boy, he really enjoyed himself here in Green Bay this week.
At the 9-pin, and his partner Dennis Jakes says, "All right, partner."
Cheering all the way. Nice short backswing there for Chet Didzina.
He's always had that real short backswing. And remember what I've talked about in the past. The bowlers with those short backswings are usually very accurate, like Roy Buckley used to be.
First look at the great one, Dick Weber. Has dominated the seniors tour since its inception back in 1980.
There's 3 senior titles to his credit. Holy mackerel, he didn't do that the whole practice.
He'll be cooling off those trigger fingers after that shot as he just diced the rack on lane 16. Now, it's supposed to be the young players, Mike, that rip those racks.
Well, Weber says he's not too old to do it at 57.
Well, what's great about the seniors, see, they don't run those shots out. They kind of walk them out, Mike.
Well, Weber gets carried away, though. He starts getting into it.
You're right. And here's his thoroughbred for the week. Local pro out of Madison, Wisconsin, only 130 miles away.
And boy, he's got to be excited. Everybody here, all his relatives, bowling with the great Weber. And he responds.
Well, we have to tell everybody right now across the nation that this was the team that I think captured the hearts of the fans here in Green Bay. They really cheered wildly all week long when McDowell and Weber made a run for the telecast. And now you get your first opportunity to see big Dennis Jakes stand up on the right-hand lane, lane 16. Well, Dennis, with a little fist of his own, runs out a shot on the right-hand lane, and we're off and running here in Green Bay.
And we see the strategy of both teams is the same, Dennis, right here. We see the strategy is to have the touring player finish in the 10th frame. Both teams have chosen to do that.
The average 216.1. That's for the week for Didzina and Jakes. Not too bad for a combo there.
For the double. Hey, Dedzina says if you can do it, so can I, Weber.
Well, we saw lots of high fives this week at red carpet lanes, and so Dedzina and Jakes double in the second and the third as you take a look at smiling Dick Weber. And I'd smile too if I could bowl as good as he does.
And has done it for so many decades now we're losing track of the decades.
I have a feeling he'll win a title probably in the year 2001.
Right there, and the 10-pin.
Boy, his speed seems to be awfully soft on this championship pair, Michael.
Well, the lanes are tight, and they've been tight the whole practice session. Weber has been fighting to keep his speed. That's the hardest thing for Dick Weber. He's always had that natural gift of being able to throw rather swiftly without a lot of effort, and so he's been trying to keep that speed slow the whole practice session. Cross lane at the 10-pin. Uh-oh. Wow.
Yeah, a little problem with the approach on the left-hand side. Maybe a little tacky over there. So Weber pulls up, misses the 10-pin. That's the first opening, so McDowell and Weber now trail by 13. And the younger statesman is going to have to throw a strike here.
And he does.
What are partners for, right, Mike Durbin? Come back and strike in the fourth. But it's a 13-pin lead right now for Dedzina and Jakes in the opening game here in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Jakes has really been wired on this right lane. Just like that.
Well, that's what you do when you've got an opponent down. You throw a big shot.
And you come back and you slide it out, put the fist right in front of his face as he did to Weber then, I'll tell you.
Dennis Jakes is the kind of player that's animated. If he throws a good shot, he'll let you know.
Watch this. This is power bowling. This is the contemporary shot right here compared to the old straight shot we'll see in just a minute.
That looks like a tornado heading down there.
Yeah, it looks like your ball did.
Oh, yeah, sure.
How
about his senior partner down on one knee, goes through the nose, leaves the baby split, and so Chet Dedzina will have his spare shooting capabilities tested here on lane 15.
Looked like he got down on that knee just a little bit premature there, almost in the middle of the delivery.
And you got to watch it when you're 62. You can't jump up and down like you used to. Boy, he's in great shape, though. I said, hey, are you excited tonight? He said, I'm ready and raring to go.
Well, he was just doing a little genuflecting there.
Sure.
In trouble.
Well, he gets one, and so an opening now for both teams here in the opening game. And now it's up to Dick Weber to make amends and maybe get a double in the right-hand lane.
You know, what's the difference there? When Weber missed his spare, McDowell clapped his hands and said, come on. And when Dedzina just missed that, Jakes kind of just shook his head.
Now, that near-famous wall shot of Dick Weber's almost came through that time, but he leaves the solid 5.
Well, he just kind of babied that shot. He's fighting to keep the speed soft, but he's kind of cutting it off just a little bit and not really getting good lift of fingers.
Kind of amazing. 20 career 300 games for this gentleman on the approach. Boy, he's won just about everything.
I think Petey's got almost that many already.
Yeah, how's that make Dad feel, right? So Weber picks up the 5, and now it's a 9-pin advantage. Mark McDowell will bowl on the left-hand lane using the same ball he used in the Miller Lite Challenge a couple 3 weeks ago in Tucson, where he finished second.
And watch the difference with the loft and the speed and the lift that McDowell has as comparison to his partner Weber. Way out on that lane. Same result almost. 10-pin.
Well, it's kind of nice when you're at home. You get a round of applause for leaving a half 10.
Well, they got to make sure they make this and keep this match within 10 pins.
And there's a look at Mark's mother and his father and, of course, his grandfather on the right. The whole family in town this week to watch him bowl on television.
Feels funny, Denny, to look at the mother and father and They're about my age, you know.
Sandy and Larry McDowell, mid-40s, right?
Right.
I'm being kind now.
Yes, I know you are.
Okay. Dennis Jakes has been on a roll, and we have our first re-rack of the evening on lane 16. My quick question, do you think the touring pros re-rack more often than the seniors do?
Without a doubt.
Is it because the seniors can't see the pins?
Well, that could be.
Jakes to get back in the X column, down on one knee, and boy, he is fighting mad out there on the championship pair.
And he's got his whip out now. And he's saying, come on, partner. Because you realize, hey, doubles don't come unless both of you strike on opposite lanes.
We're in the opening game of the $140,000 Kessler Senior Touring Pro Doubles Championship. Been a marvelous event this week in Green Bay. His partner's time he trips out that 4-9. So a big double for the team of Dedzina and Jakes here in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Painting is hard work, so you want a paint that works hard for you. A paint that covers in one...
I have a feeling right now, Mike Durbin, he'd love to have one on the right-hand lane.
And we've got a photographer moving around out here, so everybody waits until she gets off to the side.
Kevin Shippey, the PBA's Public Relations Director, assisting to her right now. Dick Weber puts the ball down.
And sometimes a thing like that, Dennis, can really break your concentration. Weber, though, being the veteran that he is, will probably just concentrate on lane 16 and how to knock down 10 instead of 9.
His team trails by 20 at this point.
There it is.
And there's the first lady of bowling, Juanita Weber, out to watch her husband all week long. And, of course, we're new old acquaintances for all the senior players. After all, they've known each other, what, 30 years now?
Someone, right. Very big shot. Probably the biggest shot this young man has thrown all week long coming up right now. We're hitting the 8th frame. They're down by 20 pins. They're all big right now, but he's got to put some pressure on Jakes. A lot of loft. Oh, too much. He hit that ball too hard, and it hooked just a little bit quick at 4-9 City.
When he had to strike out in Tucson to beat Scott Devers, you'll recall that the shot he threw went through the nose. Again, he hit just a little too hard. It seems to be when he gets too pumped up, Mike, he hits it too hard.
Now watch the extra loft here. Way out there. That's what we mean. The hit we're talking about is with the fingers. The ball's just a little bit tight. He's got to make this, Denny. He's got a chance. Ooh, wow.
Well, that spells disaster for the team of Weber and McDowell. Dick pats him on the back, but right now their backs are up against the wall because Jakes has been dead solid perfect on the right-hand lane. And his team leads by 27. Could be 37 if he strikes here.
Well, solid 10-pin. Dennis, who just has got this right-hand alley totally figured out. They're going at a two-teen pace. If he makes this, they're going at a 2:15 pace. The best Weber and McDowell can get is 2:03 if they strike out. So it's not over yet, but it's kind of desperate situation time.
Dennis Jakes with 3 career PBA titles. He and his partner Chet Dedzina in command here in the opening match. It's been a pair of opens, though, a missed 10-pin and then a 4-9 split for the team of Weber and McDowell. It's pretty much spelled their problems at this point.
And right now, they need an opening from Chet Dedzina. They're not going to get it from Jakes, I don't think. This is where they need to get it from, right here. Give it a lot of room. Barely hit the 3-pin on the right. Leaves the 1-2-5-9, which is not a real difficult spare, even though he almost threw it out of bounds. I mean, definitely a little bit of a push right there.
Chet talking to himself a little bit.
Right now, what he wants to do to make this spare is hit the head pin right head on.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, especially when this is your first time on national television. It's 9th frame time. Lost it a little bit, but perfect. And his partner says, thank you.
Look at the expression on Dennis Jakes' face right there. Oh, my goodness. Well, that's what makes it exciting, Mike, right?
Well, the old proverbial must strike out time now.
Best Weber and McDowell could do would be 203, and that's with strikes in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Climbing up that ladder, big shot for Dick Weber. So Weber really only makes one mistake. He misses the 10 pin.
And he gets 3 out of 5 strikes through every ball in the pocket. I tell you what, right now, well, it's just going to matter. If they can strike out, they'll make Jake's mark.
Which is better than nothing at this point, right?
Right. Some hope is better than none.
Well, Mark McDowell is a fighter. Make no mistake about that.
Oh, what a break. That was higher than the 4-9.
A little clipping there on the 4-pin.
Right.
Yellow flag should have gone up.
Appropriate here in Green Bay.
Titletown, USA. Green Bay,
interesting.
Wisconsin.
Right now they have 2, 4, 6 strikes in this match to 5 for Dedzina and Jakes, yet they're trailing still by 18 pins.
Mark told me that he is tired this evening, appropriately so, because he is a Green Bay Packers fan.
Oh, I wonder why. Must have this one. Perfect. Boy, was that a pretty shot.
Well, he has to be a little disappointed in his heart, realizing that if he hadn't maybe gotten too pumped up and left the 4-9, that they'd have been right in the thick of the match.
Oh, hey, that cost him 30-some pins if he strikes there.
Yeah. Dick Weber right now is kind of hoping for the best at this stage. They really teamed well this week, too. I think they enjoyed bowling with each other.
I think they did, too. Just to give you an example, if he'd have struck in the 8th frame, and they would have finished with 236 as opposed to 203.
How about one more time, Mr. McDowell? Little wall shot help, and so McDowell rids himself in the 10th frame with a nice turkey. So it's a 203 game for the team of Weber and McDowell. They'll just have to hang on now and hope for the best.
8 strikes, and they could lose.
Dennis Jakes has been absolutely solid as a rock on lane 16.
Whoa!
Oh, my goodness.
The opening they were looking for.
And sometimes fate plays a major role. Jakes cannot believe himself at this point.
Weber turns around and looks up here at us. McDowell puts his head on Weber's shoulder. He just got it left of target and got soft. And now he has to throw hard and straight at 2 of them and hope they bounce out.
Gives it a run on the gutter, doesn't get any, and what a turn of events here at the end of the opening match in the $140,000 Kessler Senior Touring Pro Doubles Championship from Green Bay, Wisconsin. A tough, tough loss indeed for Jakes and Dedzina, but the hometown fans appreciate the fact that Mark McDowell and Dick Weber are going to head on into match number 2. And, of course, they'll face off with Mats Carlson and...
Solid on this right lane every time until the 10th frame got soft and left. Bad combination, and there's the result. And look at the look on his face, and that's what they call the agony of defeat.
Tough to pick those double pinocchles up, too. Let's take a look at the score, 202-193. It was all Jakes and Dedzina. All they had to do was spare in the 10th, and that was it.
Well, sometimes that spare is easier said than done.
Oh, I guess so. There's the congratulatory handshakes. Game number 2. Bill Beach, former ABC Masters champion, will open up on the left-hand lane.
And interestingly enough, they have chosen to have Carlson finish on the right, which means that Weber and McDowell are going to have the same lineup that they wanted in the first match, with McDowell finishing on that left lane where he struck out. You know, if he didn't strike out, Jakes doesn't even need a mark.
Bill Beach leaving the bucket with his first shot. Boy, what a beautiful arm swing Bill Beach has.
57 years old. He won our first seniors event in 1980. And interestingly enough, when I was watching him and talking to him in practice, Denny, Mats was telling me how he thought Beach's ball would react better on the right lane, and now they've changed their decision at the last minute.
Yeah, lots of strategy employed, especially in a doubles competition.
At the bucket, and chops it right away.
Well, Bill a little upset with himself there, but boy, the first shot on national television to leave that bucket, that's an awful tough spare to have to master. Brother. Yeah. You know, Mike, obviously you've been there many times. Dick Weber on the right-hand lane, and Weber and McDowell, I think, have given up at least one of their 9 lives here this evening thus far in game number 1.
See how loose they get now.
Never fails. When you give a champion an opportunity to come back, especially on the PBA Tour, they normally come storming back.
Right. They always did against me. I know that. Right about over the second arrow. 9th board. The board right of it. Seemed to hook right there and then stop here. Kind of hooked early and then set up at the pocket.
Well, that old 7-pin took off like a rocket. Mark McDowell in search of PBA title number 1. His partner has 29. Well, Dick Weber looks like he's 30 years of age. I'm sure he'd probably love to have 30 titles to go right along with it.
He's amazing. He never seems to change. And I was watching him at practice at 57 years old. He still throws the ball so well. Although I'd never tell him that.
That better stay on the lane. Oh, just barely nicks it. Weber shifts seats. Mark McDowell heads back to the bench and gets a quick high five from his partner. The average age of the seniors making the telecast here this evening, 56.4 years. And for the touring pros, 26.2 years of age. So, geez, they're twice as young.
You know who the old man of the touring pros is?
Who?
This fellow that's up right here.
Yeah, that figures.
He's a flat 30.
Not. Oh, that's right. Mats Carlson. Yeah. Well, he's about as steady a player as you're going to find on the PBA Tour. So Carlson opens up with a strike, and Bill Beach, I'm sure, will settle down here on the left-hand lane.
Beach, just looking at him, though, appears uptight. He just really looks tense right now. He needs some kind of a good shot, good break to get him a little bit more relaxed and loose.
Bill shot a 300 game in the 3rd game of round number 1 here in Green Bay.
Looks smooth. Oh, there it is. He knocked that 8-10 out, and he says, thank you.
And so a double. So Beach and Carlson kind of fight back and right the ship a little bit here early in match number 2. Dick Weber, who was the first player on the television practice pair this evening, and the last one, I think, to leave, got one last shot in there, trying to take full advantage of the 45-minute practice time. Oh, and he says, oh, I'm glad that baby sat down for me in the pocket on lane 16. There were some doubts in his mind.
Well, actually, he's thrown every ball in the pocket. He left a 10-pin, which he missed in the first game, and a 5-pin, which he made, and he's got 2 strikes here. Now he says McDowell. And remember, Mark McDowell was using that towel to clean out that thumb hole every time in Tucson, and he's doing it here, too. It's part of his little ritual.
Mark McDowell averaged 222.8 this week. Averaged 247 in round number 3 of qualifying. This youngster can light up the scoreboard when he's given the opportunity. Oh, he really thumped that one, and boy, you can almost see it, Mike. When he gives it that little extra, that ball really turns about 30 feet.
Absolutely. You got it spotted, Denny. He got that another 6 inches out on the lane, and, you know, and he did it all with his fingers, and that ball just hooked sooner and hit harder and too hard. Left that 4-pin. He throws straight at the spares.
Lots of speed, covers up on the 4-pin, so we've got a very close match here in match number 2. The team of McDowell and Weber leading by just 1.
For 3 in a row. And the soft 10-pin.
Boy, this is exciting here in Green Bay, Mike. They even cheer the half-10s here. When you leave a 10-pin, they're so excited that you've got 9 they cheer. Crowds were just sensational this week.
Yeah, when I walked in and was listening to him last night, thought you were at a football game.
Yeah. That better hang on.
Well, we've seen 2 of them missed over there.
Must be awfully slick, Mike.
Going cross lane. Usually, you know, in the practice session, they shoot. I saw Spezio shooting a lot of different spares in practice. And we see switch balls, which some people recommend against. I know I missed one the same way in an important tournament one time. I switched balls. And
That's just simply ran out of lane there on lane 16. His senior partner tries to pick him up, and he does. Nice strike on the left-hand lane for Bill Beach. Now Dick Weber will go back to work on lane 16. Weber and McDowell lead by 14 by virtue of the missed 10 pin. Boy, how many years have you seen that profile?
Lots. Something has distracted his concentration all the way. Somebody's talking and he can hear him.
It's not us.
No, we were quiet then for a change. Huh?
Well, it gets so quiet in the championship round that the slightest little distraction can throw you off.
And it definitely did throw him off.
Weber tried to pull the string a little bit, but the 8 count is about all he comes up with on the right-hand lane. Dick Weber, by virtue of making the top 24 this week, or actually the final 18, is now the all-time leader in surviving in match play in PBA history. He's now made 289 top 24 finishes.
Doesn't surprise me. The man's been around forever.
289, Mike? That's like getting 754 homers. I mean,
who did he go around? He went around Salvino?
Yep. Carmen Salvino, who got a check this week but didn't quite get to the finals. Boy, they've been battling each other for a good many years.
I know. It's amazing. McDowell looking for his first strike in this second game. And
well, is lane 15 starting to break down a little bit, Mike Durbin?
It appears that he's just got to make an adjustment, either with his feet, to give the ball a little bit more room. It's a good break, goes right through the heart of the pins, leaves only the 3 pin. Reduces their lead to 11 if he makes the spare. No trouble.
Big shot now for the team of Carlson and Beach. If they double up here, they can close the gap a little bit. Mats Carlson with 2 career PBA victories.
Matt's probably the slowest player on the telecast tonight. Takes his time, not an excessive amount of time, but he definitely is in no hurry out there. It's a nice stroll for him.
Very deliberate routine, one that he follows without falter each and every shot.
Stuck a little bit. Right through the heart of the pins, the 4, 6, 7, 10. And right now, the turning players are not doing that well. Matt's opened in the 4th frame, and he's staring at an open here in the 6th frame.
Well, gives the double pinochle a run. That's the second time we've seen that split on lane 16, and it, no matter how many times you look at that, it never looks very good. Oh. Did you ever make that, Mike?
No, I have never made it. I've had it made against me, but I never made it.
No kidding.
Yeah, Jeff Bellinger made it at me one time to win the game.
Oh, jeez. And you had already penciled in 30 bonus picks.
Yeah, exactly right. I had to scratch it out.
How did I know that? That's funny. Yeah, there's never a time when you figure anybody's going to make that. Well, down by 25. It's up to the senior half of this team to pick up the slack. Now, Beach hits the pocket, but the ball deflected a little bit, and he left the soft 10.
25 pins, but we saw a turnaround in the last match. We're still searching here for somebody to get something going in this quarterfinal match.
The average membership, PBA-wise, for the seniors telecast this evening, 21.6 years, and for the touring players, 4.4 years. Some of these seniors have been around a good long time, thrown a lot of strikes. And Bill Beach will have to come up with a couple of strikes here in game number 2 to help his team out. And there you see Weber and McDowell. They lead by 25. Player of the year, Dick Weber.
$744,000 career earnings. He's made a bunch of that on the senior tour. He's made about $60,000 or more on the senior tour.
Yep, the leading money winner on the senior tour with in excess of $69,000.
Light. Oh!
Light and Mr. Weber ran that one back and sat down very quickly, and it just doesn't get a whole heck of a lot better than that. How many years have you seen Dick Weber, as soon as he released it, kind of start backing up, realizing he had really thrown a good shot?
Oh, he always had that classy way of running out strikes. Right now, Mark McDowell would like to run out one of his own. He's looking for his first strike in this match, and their team of McDowell and Weber looking for their first double. There it is.
Well, that almost looked like the old frozen rope of Dick Weber there.
Fans reacting rather warmly to that right now. Carlson and Beach are saying, hey, I've got to strike out. There's Weber's famous delivery at the line, called the best foul line correction bowler ever.
Mats Carlson in a world of trouble right now. His team trails by 35, and we're in the 8th frame.
Oh, boy, nothing is going right for Mats Carlson.
The amazing thing about Mats is he's very unemotional, at least on the outside, and you just get the impression sometimes that you're not meant to win when you throw an absolutely perfect shot like that and you leave the old stone 8.
Especially in a situation where they needed it strike desperately. They were still potential 202 if they got that one, but now it's down to 191.
Weber and McDowell with a potential of 237. So Mats Carlson covers up on the 8th pin. It's a congratulatory tap from his senior partner Bill Beach, who has informed me that he'll be all set and ready to go, head down to Canton, Ohio to bowl in that PBA Seniors Championship just a couple of weeks away.
All the seniors are looking forward to that one.
Oh, what a terrific event. Janet Bueller and her bunch at Hall of Fame Lanes in Canton. They really roll out the red carpet for the senior pros.
And Beach, who threw every ball but one in the pocket. He left a lot of 10 pins this week as it was, but right now his team is almost buried. Best they can get is 180 if he makes this and they strike out, and Weber and McDowell would have to totally fall apart to score less than that.
The team of Bill Beach and Mats Carlson led this tournament for a good many games this week. Finished up qualifying in the number 3 slot. But should they finish third, they'll split a nice check for $10,000. Dick Weber has never failed to cash in a PBA Seniors event.
He's won 3 of them.
Not bad.
Trying to win 4 tonight.
And he's made, what, 8 top 5 finishes out of 12?
Right.
He's a pretty solid bet in these things.
Perhaps one of his best shots and left the 4 pin.
Would have been interesting if his son Pete had made the finals this week.
Been.
Weber and Weber. Oh, gee, many Christmas. That'd have been a tremendous team. Or if maybe Pete would have had to bowl against him.
That'd have been even more interesting.
Ah, I can imagine. Of course, they probably bowled a few matches for a few Cokes through the years in St. Louis, don't you think?
I imagine.
Wonder who's ahead. Well, Mark McDowell can tie the bow in a nice knot here.
Seems he only needs 5 pins. That's enough right there.
Well, the 5 pin was heading towards the 7, and something got in his way, but that's enough for victory number 2 here.
Well, 2 more and they're home.
2 more and they're home, huh? Long way to go all the way up that ladder, though.
They're going to have to go against my old doubles partner in the next match.
Les Schisler. The fans obviously enjoying game number 2. Bill Beach and Mats Carlson, I think, probably a little disappointed in what happened out there. Had aspirations of yet another PBA title for each of them.
And a nice clean game, 205 with a strike. McDowell only got 1 strike in the left lane, and they wound up winning the match. In this match, they only got 4 strikes so far total, but It's not how many. It's whether you win or lose.
That's right. They had 8 strikes in the opening game.
That's right.
Well, they had 5 in game number 2. Nice power strike. Dick Weber quickly up off the bench. Congratulates Mark McDowell and Max Carlson to simply finish out game number 2.
I tell you what, if I were the team of Palumbi and Kessler coming on, I would schedule it so that Weber had to finish on the right lane or make them change their lineup.
And isn't it always that way? Everything falls down when it doesn't mean anything for Max Carlson.
See, they can come on. Palumbi and Kessler can come on and they can say maybe they want Palumbi to finish on the left lane. So they would make McDowell start the match. But at the last second, then the team of Weber and McDowell could say, no, we want to switch our lineup and put Weber over on that left lane. So McDowell would finish on the right. But then they'd have to, they're bowling on different lanes.
And at this point in time, would you dare to change lanes, Mike, if you were out there?
No, I wouldn't. But I know
they only shot 205 that game too. That
might
not be good enough to win.
But Weber is adamant that he wants McDowell to finish. He wants to have the senior himself bowl only 5 frames as opposed to a potential 7 shots for the turning player if he strikes out in the 10th frame.
Okay, well, we'll wait and find out what strategy they employ. It is rather interesting, though. A little different than the normal singles competition. Well, Max Carlson puts the finishing touches on a 180 game. Obviously disappointed, but nevertheless finishing like a true professional. So Beach and Carlson finish up in that number 4 position. And there you see the scoreboard, 205 to 180. Les Kessler, Mike Durbin's old doubles partner, will start on the left-hand lane.
And they've chosen to let Weber and McDowell have the same finishing position that they've had all along.
Well, it's worked pretty well thus far. Kessler's first shot on lane 15, and when you look at Les Kessler, he is an amazing study. This guy never changes expressions. All he does is go up there and hit the pocket.
With a nice, the simplest game possible. Probably the freest swing. Just a little pitter-pat with the fingers out there, but he's been striking with it for 35 years.
Well, why change it if it works? Dick Weber back to work on the championship pair. This might be a little high, and he kicks out the 4-pin as Weber spins and does a 180.
And he says, I didn't win 29 titles without learning how to carry all those hits.
Well, Weber carries everything. Everybody's known it for years.
Right now, he wants his partner to start carrying a little bit, though.
I wonder if they have chatted, Mike. Do you think that they've discussed the left-hand lane?
I don't know. That's a good question, Teddy. They may have.
All that experience for Weber. Maybe trying to help his touring partner out. And once again, he goes high on lane 15. Now, I'm not sure if he needs to change balls or change angles or what, Mike, but he struggled on the left-hand lane, basically.
1 strike the last game.
And the strike he threw, I think he threw with much more velocity than he has in the other shots. It was much straighter. Didn't hook it as much.
Contemporary player, again, their natural shot is to give it room and hook it. At the 610, has it.
There you see Dick Weber. Now he's got him collared. Here we go. He's talking to him now.
He's saying, hey, that's what they put those boards on the approach for, so you can count them to move left,
Ron Palumbi Jr. Boy, is this a talented player.
The interesting thing about him is no slide at all. Plants the in and twists. Boy, did he give that one room. Too much room. There's a definite out-of-bounds area out there with oil right, and if you hit it, it isn't coming back.
It doesn't hit any trees and end up on the green, that's for sure. Palumbi, a big, strapping young player. Plenty of power, plenty of potential.
Or rocks either, huh, Denny?
25 years of age. Nice average this week, nearly 220. High game of 289.
Tough spare, 1-2-4. Oops, and he does not convert it. Boy, I'll tell you what, we've seen some errors by both seniors and touring players alike.
Now the team of Weber and McDowell has been living dangerously here this evening, but they've received a number of nice breaks, starting with the opening game when Dennis Jakes threw the double pinochle in the 10th. All he needed was a mark to win.
Kessler says, What's so difficult about this? I've been here on TV before.
It was so funny because I talked with Les and Ron before the telecast, and they were trying to determine which lane they were going to bowl on. Les said, you pick the lane you can strike on. You're my horse. I'll take either one. Doesn't make any difference to me. All it does is go up and flush the first 2 shots. We bowled 3 frames, Mike Durbin, and the senior players have all 4 strikes.
That's amazing, isn't it?
No, it's not amazing. Well, what a beautiful shot by West.
Wasn't that pretty? Well, a little bit faster than he actually threw it. Just dead flush, perfect. And the 8-pin wanted to stand. Well, let's see what kind of advice Weber gave his partner McDowell on this left lane.
I think he probably just told him, just relax, Mark. Mark has a tendency to get a little hyper at times.
He says, I've been carrying that hit for 25 years. Try it, partner.
And McDowell utilizes that wall shot as they double in the 3rd and 4th, and they lead now by 22. PBA earnings leaders.
Well, we see the same name on top, although Pete's not adding too many dollars to it. In a bit of a slump there. McCordick at 142, Ballard 124, Walter Ray just a smidge away from another $100,000 a year. Randy Peterson, the 6th guy over 90,000, with Ferraro at 82, Voss at 81. We have a number make 100 this year. Milton is 68. Milton, who has not bowled all summer long.
And back to live action, Ron Palumbi Jr. on the right-hand lane. Desperately needs to help his team. Needs a double.
Better shot. There's the result. That first one, he just got away from him.
Excellent shot there on the right-hand lane. And now the master, Les Kessler. I still will never forget watching when he left the A-10 and Eddie Ressler stepped in and won a title.
That happened in Greensboro, North Carolina. Right through the nose, leaves just a 4-7. Kessler, who probably introduced what was known as the gutter shot. He could play that first board as well or better than anybody. And he did it remarkably well and remarkably consistently. And house to house, you'd go into just every center. You could play right off that first board and point it up.
Kind of an amazing happening, too, though, with Les. He was the first player ever to shoot a perfect game in the ABC championships. I think that happened back in like 1963, and it was during the team event, and not easy to do. That was back when 300s were pretty tough to come by. Dick Weber, 12 for 12. There you see it.
Up by 14, try and increase it to 24. Light. Didn't get out of it clean, Dan. He went over the top a little bit, and the thumb did not clear cleanly and did not get the fingers. The ball slid too far.
What do you think the percentages would be to make this, Mike?
Weber used to make it like a 5-pin. So I'd say the percentages are pretty good, at least 50-50 here.
Well, now that we've put the pressure on him, we'll see what the PBA and ABC Hall of Famer comes up with here. By a whisker, he misses on the right-hand lane, slaps Mark McDowell on the hand and says, all right, young gentleman, get up there and throw a strike.
And just like that, they go from 14 ahead to 2 behind.
The ebb and flow. Well, we've seen some rather drastic changes here in this tournament thus far.
Yeah, they would have been even if he'd got 1. See if that comes back to haunt them in the 10th frame.
Well, that's true team competition. When one guy's down, the other guy steps up and fills in.
And right now, though, it appears for both players that they're having trouble relaxing to get that double. They're both relaxed at the first strike, but then when they get that X up there, they're throwing the second one a little bit differently.
Mike, do you try twice as hard when you're bowling with somebody?
Well, I know Weber said that his wife and his son both chewed him out the other day because he was too tense because he was trying to bowl so well for McDowell.
It's something that comes into play. Palumbi just rips the finger holes out of a shot on the right-hand lane, leaves the solid 10-pin. First time the PBA ever discovered Green Bay, Wisconsin was back in 1967, and Dave Davis ran away with that event following year.
I bowled in that tournament.
Back in 68, then they came back, and Mike McGrath ended up the champion.
Both left-handers.
How'd you finish in the 67 tournament?
Denny, I don't remember. I know I was here.
I was just going to test your memory a little bit there, and obviously you came up with nothing. Mike.
Yes.
It's all a blur, obviously.
Well, they say the memory's the first thing to go, and I don't remember what's second.
Well, let's see if Les Schisler remembers how to strike on the left-hand lane.
He sure does.
Fan of the audience said, good stroke, Les, when that shot got to the arrows. So obviously the fans are knowledgeable here in Green Bay because it was a perfect strike. He's president for the House of Seagrams, and also Jim Barrett, national product manager for Kessler Whiskey. Those two gentlemen love their bowling, and boy, they've been treated here this evening.
Well, right now, Weber would like to be treated to a double.
Well, the team of McDowell and Weber has averaged a scant 204, but they've kept themselves alive here with two tough victories. They're back in a dogfight here in Game 3.
See if Weber can throw it a little bit better in this shot. Sure did.
And he turned around 360 that time for Dick Weber, who is really starting to get pumped up, and he's clapping his partner on.
I mean, watch him. As soon as he lets it go, he is running right backwards. Look at the ball rolling into the pocket. The difference between that shot, see the thumb was out and the fingers lifted, and the classic Weber run out.
He's going to need a chiropractor if he continues that, huh? Juanita will have to slow him down a little bit. Take it easy, Richard. Relax a little bit. Big shot now for Mark McDowell.
He can really put the pressure on Palumbi and Kessler with this one.
Boy, it's almost a throwback to the days of team bowling. Weber was up that time swinging his towel around trying to coax that 10-pin down to the pit.
And he fanned that one just a little bit. What I mean by that is he just didn't quite get to the side of the ball as much as he wanted to and didn't have quite the finger lift that he wanted. And the result was that soft 10-pin. No mistakes. Got to make this. Maintain an 8-pin lead.
All right, ready. And you hear Dick Weber. All right, knock down that 10. Ron Palumbi with his first victory in Tucson a few years back. That was a memorable experience.
Oh, bowling Mark Fay, who needed only 6 on his fill ball to assure a tie, and he got 5, and Palumbi proceeded to drill 3 strikes to win by a pin.
He can strike under pressure.
He needs one right now to take a 2-pin lead. Oh.
Well, that was Flush City there. Those 10 pins disappeared in a big hurry.
And you notice the difference in the applause when the Palumbi-Sisler team strikes in polite, courteous applause, and when it's McDowell and Weber, the roof comes off.
Talk about direct contrast. Les Schisler's ball hooks about 3 boards, and Palumbi covers the whole lane.
Big shot here. Right there. Oh. That's my partner.
Yeah, and you wish you still had him right now, too, don't you? Yeah, you probably used to ride him constantly, didn't you?
Oh, I had my spurs dug in deep. I'll tell you what, Weber and McDowell got to get together right now. They're down by 12 pins. Their potential, 223. Got to take them one at a time. Four-pin, no, it's set.
Boy, Weber really gritting his teeth on that shot. Great effort that time by the Hall of Famer Dick Weber.
Well, the strategy comes into play. Everybody's picked to have that touring player finish the match, and Weber's got his wish now. The pressure's off of him, and it's on to his partner, McDowell, who needs now to strike to cut it to 2.
Okay, there you see the scoreboard, 223, the possibility for McDowell and Weber. Still gives Palumbi and Schisler an opportunity to take it off the sheet and win, though.
Big frame back in the 5th when Weber got 8 out on that 5-7.
Gave it room.
Oh, he slipped the 4-pin again.
Oh, and Weber was on his knees that time, coaxing that 4-pin to drop.
And remember the trip 4-pin in the first match. If he doesn't strike out in that first match, we might be looking at Dzina and Jake's bowling right now.
Well, McDowell and Weber just trying to hang on for dear life here in game number 3 of the $140,000 Kessler Senior Touring Pro Doubles Championship.
I'll tell you what, a tie is still a distinct possibility. I'll explain that in just a minute if he gets this next strike.
Well, it'd still be a 2-frame roll-off. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. Well, the stubborn 7 finally dropped, and there you see the applause from the great one, Dick Weber, as Mark McDowell and Weber have really reached deep down inside to come up with some big shots here at the end of this game.
Now, if he strikes here, he can wind up with 223. If Palumbi would get up then and fill 18 pins in the 10th frame, they'd have 223 for a tie. If he strikes now, the team of Weber McDowell is going to have 9 strikes, and they could lose.
Boy. A big 5-7 lead for Weber in the 5th, looming bigger and bigger. But it's up to McDowell to finish things off here.
High. Well, I don't think we're going to have a tie. It's going to be a matter of whether Palumbi can strike right here.
Well, a gutsy performance, though, for Weber and McDowell as they pull out all the stops and shoot 220. They came out of nowhere.
Struck when they needed to with a variety of hits. A little bit high, a little bit light, but they both struck.
Ron Palumbi patting a little rosin on that thumb hole to make sure he gets a good feel.
And remember, this young man has not won in several years, so this is just such an important strike to him.
Last 2 shots he's thrown on 16 have been superb.
Right there. And the 7-10, boy, the Weber magic is still working.
Holy cow, can you believe that? Just a beautiful shot by Palumbi, and out of nowhere, the 7-10 stands. So Dick Weber and Mark McDowell continuing up the ladder, and boy, they've received more than their share of fair breaks.
7-10 on a pocket hit.
Well, Jakes leaves the double pinochle in the 10th frame, and Palumbi and Kessler bowl a very nice game and come up empty-handed.
He needed the strike. He got a double tap. We're going to see it right here. No slide. Ball behind the hip. Watch it come in light. Well, we don't see it. We see his reaction to it.
Well, that pretty much says it all. So Palumbi and Kessler will bow out in 3rd place and split $10,000. A disappointing loss for that team. But the team of Mark McDowell and Dick Weber, they'll get a chance to bowl for the title. And I think Weber is ready to maybe win number 30.
Glenn Pierce and Steve Wunderlich actually made a run at the show, and Pierce left an 8-10 in the 10th frame. Bob Perry and Randy Lightfoot in 9th, and old Tita Semez and Harold Sullins in 10th place there. Dean Cortade and Purvis Granger in 11th, Harris and Salvemini in 12th, Bob Chase and Brian Voss in 13th, Wilson and Soper, first time in the finals quite a while. Bill Bunetta in there with Jimmy Miller. They were 15th. Roy and Albee, that team, in 16th. Curtis and Baker in 17th, and of course Carl Babb and Martin in 18th place.
And it was fun for all this week at Red Carpet Lane. So the seniors really enjoyed themselves. So did the touring players. Are Weber and McDowell a team of destiny, Mike Durbin?
Well, you have to think that way, but I'm going to tell you this. Spezio and Morrow were really lined up in practice. They've got a winning shot if they can execute under the pressure.
And we'll find out what happens in the championship game in just a moment or so here from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Morrow and Spezio up, finishing touches of the practice session for the top seed team. Brady Morrow on your right, Nicky Spezio to your left. And for the first time in the championship finals this evening, Mike Durbin, there's been a strategy change by the team that's above Weber and McDowell.
Well, we should explain that the team coming on has the choice of how they want to finish. And as we talked to Spezio and Morrow in the interview beforehand, they said that they wanted Morrow to finish in the 10th frame. And he's going to finish on that left lane, which means that they're going to make the team of Weber and McDowell start the match. Weber and McDowell, meanwhile, have opted not to switch lanes. At least I think they have. And so McDowell's going to stay on that left lane, which means that Weber's going to have to strike out in the 10th frame this time. McDowell's done it twice to keep him alive.
Okay, the practice is over. We are bowling for real now. $28,000 on top.
And more important, 3 of these bowlers have never won. One of them has won 29 times.
I don't think Weber has more titles than all the finalists on the telecast this evening combined. he'll try and help his partner, Mark McDowell, win his first. McDowell opens the match. Left-hand lane. Likes the shot. Oh, my goodness. Solid 10. Think the crowd is pumped up, Mike?
I'm pumped up. I don't know where they are now. I'm ready.
Oh, it's been an interesting evening. Weber and McDowell started in the number 5 slot. They've been running the rail at this point, coming into the quarter pole, the final quarter.
You know, I was only in this position one time when I bowled with Gil Sliker. We won the doubles crown back in 1983 in Las Vegas. And we were discussing how we were going to finish. And I frankly told Gil, I said, Gil, he hadn't won a tournament then. I says, I don't want to step up in the 10th frame and strike out to win your first title. It's your job.
Yeah, that was smart thinking, because you're right. There's so much pressure to win your first. Mickey Spezio, 51 years of age.
And he kind of rocks back and forth and then starts. Very simple game with, ooh, solid 10, both players. Well, tit for tat right here.
Well, Mickey Spezio, there you see the average. He was tops among the seniors this week average-wise, and he bowled just absolutely brilliantly.
218, I'm telling you, that's a lot of guys
better than you
won tournaments averaging 218. Chuck Pierce is shaking his head up here saying, I didn't average that much.
That's right. Chuck bowling this week, handling the statistical analysis, as he does each and every week on the PBA Summer Tour. Chuck, we need for you to be out there one of these weeks so we can talk about you. Spezio, hang on. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. That's the second or third time a 10-pin has been missed on that right-hand lane. There's a slick spot out there.
Third time, but it was nerves, Denny, because Spezio practiced the 10-pin on that lane.
Well, his younger half will have to step up and try and get started on the right foot. Boy, Spezio threw such a great shot to open, left the solid 10, then missed the spare.
Boy, 3 shots, 3 solid 10s. We hadn't seen that many the first 3 games.
There you see Mickey, boy. He's working on that gum a little bit right now. Tremendous competitor. He'll bounce back. You won't have to worry about him. Rowdy Morrow, 25 years of age, having an excellent year, his best on the PBA Tour. He's won over $51,000 thus far. He's ranked 18th in the money.
And he can identify with missing 10 pins, as he missed one in Las Vegas that really hurt him.
Didn't miss that one.
Well, since that time, he's gone to a strategy of throwing a ball hard and a harder ball that goes straighter at his spares, and he's missed far fewer.
Might be a good tip for the average player out there.
Weber shrugging those shoulders to get loose.
Many times has Juanita looked on and watched Dick Weber throw a key strike, and of course now she gets to watch Pete. But don't forget John and Dick Jr., a couple of good bowlers as well in that Weber family.
Yes, it's a bowling family all the way through. I wonder how many 300 games that family has.
The whole family? Gee, many Christmas. Well, let's see. I know Dick's got 20. Pete's probably got close to that. Jeez. Everybody in the family's got one. Does Juanita have one?
I don't know if one.
We'll give her one. Boy, Dick really lamenting at this point.
Watching on. Come on, partner, he says. Come on, partner. Oh, and another solid 10-pin.
Look
at Weber.
Somebody sent a messenger down there. Tell Weber to relax a little bit. He's never going to make it through the title match. Oh, what a competitor he is.
57 years old, 29 titles, and he wants to win this one probably more than the other 29.
You know, I talked to him earlier in the week, Mike, and we were chatting about that. He said, Denny said, I feel more pressure to win now than I ever did because I know I'm running out of time.
I can't believe that.
I didn't believe it either. I told him, I said, you're going to bowl for the next 30 years, and you know it. Well, McDowell covers up on the 10. It's been an adventure shooting those 10 pins here this evening. Well, Mickey Spezio gets a chance to redeem himself here on the right-hand lane. Left the solid 10 and then just couldn't quite keep the ball on the lane.
And should mention that there's a towel on the ball return there that Mickey uses that is a wet towel. He uses a solid one. Just anathema to me to even think about it, but he likes it. Light. And he says, the heck with that solid hit. I'm going to all reliable.
That's right. Made the adjustment. Little tickler on lane 16. And I'm sure he's probably breathing a lot easier at this point.
He's going to breathe easier if his partner can bite into that 11-pin lead with a double here and cut it to 1.
They teamed just magnificently all week long.
And Rowdy, who averaged 230 this week. Fantastic.
That's 230, right?
Yes.
Wow, a lot of strikes. Well, he's come close to victory. He'd like to notch.
Lost that one a little. And did not get the lift and left the 5-pin.
And there you see his parents standing by.
Pounds that rosin into the thumb hole. A lot of players like to do that. Get a little rosin in that thumb to help hold on to it better. He just lost that ball entirely.
Well, it's a game of nerves out there, especially when you're bowling for a PBA national title. Covers up on the easy 5-pin, and we're in the opening stages of the title match. An 11-pin lead for the team of McDowell and Weber. Still plenty of bowling left.
And Denny and I have different opinions on this particular shot. Denny thinks that there's a slick, if I can get it out here, in the middle of the lane and cause that ball to slide to the right.
I don't know if it's on the middle of the lane. I just think the outside, the last 5 boards on the right-hand lane, you mentioned it before, are out of bounds when Ron Palumbi threw one out there. I know one thing, you got to be careful.
That is definitely true, but
the whole key is if you set it short, does it hook early on that cross alley spear? I don't know.
Well, we haven't seen anybody missing on the left yet.
Nope. Weber trying to set up a strike. In frame number 4, his team leads by 11. Boy, he dropped that at the foul line. And I have a feeling he's counting his blessings at this point.
And he rubbed his back. I don't know. He hurt his back on that shot. It was really an awful shot, to be quite frank about it. He's concentrating, gets right about to this point here, and loses it. Boom. See the hand go out to the right there?
He looks like he's surfing at that point, doesn't he? Weber's hanging 10 over the foul line.
Didn't throw that one real well either.
He's down on one knee, coaching at home. Every shot, Mike, is just so critical in a title match.
Well, the pressure builds, especially when your partner gets that strike, because then the onus is back on you. Well, I've got to get a double because my partner's doing so well.
Well, last year it was Joe Berardi and Tita Semez who ended up winning this tournament. The East Coast connection. Now it's the boys from the Midwest. And Weber obviously enjoying that shot. Mark McDowell with just a dandy of a shot on the left-hand lane.
And he's had every ball solid this time. That's the first time he didn't leave a solid 10. Spezio and Morrow, every ball in the pocket. Only one strike to show for it, a missed 10-pin.
This is an amazing start the way Mickey gets lined up.
Only been a professional for 4 years. He's cashed in every seniors event. Light. And he says that light hit works pretty good.
Well, he's had light hits the last 2. What a terrific amateur career he's had. He's won over 40 amateur titles, bowled in the FIQ back in '78, won a couple of gold medals. So he is a storied amateur player.
Right now he wants his professional partner to get a double and put him ahead by a pin.
Well, Rowdy has picked him up all week long. And there's no time like the present.
Rowdy looking for his first strike. He averaged 230 this week, which is a 5-bagger every game. And right now he's looking for his first strike in the championship game. Right there. And knocks that 10-pin out. Says, all right. Well, that makes you feel a little bit more relaxed. Cut that 10-pin out of there. He was looking at it all the way.
Blow that air out a little bit. Hey, when you're facing one of the greatest of all time, you can't give him much room.
See how well Weber throws this. If he can respond to the challenge one more time. A little extra time. Light. Oh, there it is again.
Oh, and he's shaking his fist at his partner. The Weber wall shot. How many years have you seen that 5 and 7 trickle and fall at the last moment?
Well, the thing, I mean, it was at the last moment. Weber really didn't get his thumb out of this one real clean. Watch the delivery. Gets to here. Thumb barely beat the fingers getting out. The head pin goes to the wall slowly. And the 7 and 5 fall the last. Head by 9 can make it 19.
And they could double right back if McDowell strikes here. Little Light swishes the rack, and once again the 5-pin disrupted en route to the 7.
Same type of hit. He had the second one in the 10th, only it carried there. I think this one's going right down to the old proverbial wire here, Dan.
It wouldn't surprise me. Had some great match games this week when both the senior and the touring pros struck out to win. Boy. You know, it's amazing. A lot of people, they don't give those seniors enough credit. Those guys can still throw strikes when they have to.
And we've got a first here. We've got a senior asking for a re-rack here on this right lane. Spezio, who, to be quite honest, the last 2 shots has really not thrown the ball as well as he did the first time on this lane, but has come in light and got that light hit. Is fighting his release just a hair. Needs to get that thumb out just a little quicker.
Is that because you're tense?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly right.
All right. Well, I know everybody that's watching is a little nervous at this point.
Can take the lead with this one. Oh, just enough.
Well, that ball caught just enough of the right side of the 5-pin to chip it out of there, and so big turkey for Spezio and Morrow, and they lead by 2.
Morrow, who seems to have gotten his act together the last frame. See if he gets this ball out on the lane a little bit or loses it again. Right there, solid 10. We've got a 1-pin match.
Well, that 6-pin just whistled around the 10 that time. Wow, what a shot that was. Doesn't get too much better than that, Mike. Key shot. Now he goes to the harder, shinier ball to shoot the spare.
8th frame. He can't afford to miss it now. He's got to make sure he covers this spare. Dead center.
Now we've got a 1-pin ball game at this point, Mike. Both teams working on spares. Weber up now in the 8th, but the critical shot may happen in the 10th. Weber will bowl the 10th frame for his team, which he hasn't done thus far.
Have to wait and see. A lot of bowling left to be done. The week 10. The week 10. Well, it's set up. If he makes this, McDowell will be relaxed to strike in the 9th frame to give his team the opportunity. We're going to wait and see. It's a 2-pin match right now. If he makes this, both teams will be on spares. It'll be 2 frames for $28,000. And somebody's first title. Somebody's going to win their first title here.
That's right.
Weber says, I'm not missing it now.
And there you see Mark McDowell eyeing lane 15 here at Red Carpet Lanes in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Graphically, there's a description of the championship game here in the Kessler Seniors Touring Pros Championship.
2 very professional games. Almost every ball in the pocket. The only error, a missed 10-pin in the first frame by Spezio. McDowell backs off. But
didn't like the grip. Well, like it or not, this is Mark McDowell's final shot here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. He'd like to make it a good one.
he did. His best of the week, baby.
That was a one-hopper to shortstop there. That ball had no chance to do anything but hit the 1-3 pocket on the fly.
We definitely see what his reaction is under pressure. It's a little more loft, a little more speed, a little more lift.
All right, now 51-year-old Mickey Spezio from Crest Hill, Illinois, just outside of Joliet.
Throwing his biggest shot of the week right here. Leaves the 4-pin. We got a 1-pin match. We could have a tie, Dan.
I know we could. Nothing wrong with that.
Definitely not.
Haven't had one all summer.
And again, in a tie, we'd have a 2-frame roll-off similar to the 9th and 10th frame of regulation game. We go right into that. No commercial break.
First things first, pick up the 4-pin. Mickey backs off.
No mistakes now.
Nope. This takes a little extra time. That's experience showing itself.
He should. He absolutely should. If he misses this, it would be such a deflator. This team would almost have no chance. He's got it.
Well, he's done his job thus far in this championship. Now it's up to the younger half, Rowdy Morrow of St. Louis, to come up with a big turkey.
And remember, this is the way they wanted it. They wanted Morrow to finish. In the interview, Spiezio said he had confidence in his partner. This first one is so big because if he gets the first one, it almost eliminates the tie possibility. It would force Weber to get that first one in the 10th to strike. If they fill 20, if he goes strike spare. But they cannot shut out the team of McDowell and Weber. They can't shut them out. He knocks it out of there. Woo!
Well, that's strike number 1. The 8-pin and the 10-pin a little late in leaving, but nevertheless, they find themselves in the pit.
Well, there's any number of possibilities right now. So,
well, the best that Spiezio and Morrow can do is shoot 217.
That's right.
Okay, and the best that Weber and McDowell could shoot would be 226. But
there's anything could happen in between too. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, that's why they bowl the championship match. A couple of hearts pounding right there.
4 for sure. Oh, what a pretty shot. I mean, he threw that one so well under the pressure.
Very firm, very crisp.
And good lift with the fingers. That ball hit half pocket and just snapped that 8-10 right out of there. Now, if he gets 9, they finish with 216, would force Weber to get 2 in the 10th to win. If he gets 8, we could still have a possibility of a tie. So 9 or 10 makes Weber get 2, but Weber can still step up and win the match.
And how good will Dick Weber's nerves be through better than 40 years of competitive bowling?
That remains to be seen.
He's certainly been there a few times.
Boy, what a finish. What a finish.
Rowdy Morrow with a beautiful 10th, 11th, and 12th frame finish. 3 strikes. And that's about as good as you can do looking for title number 1.
And there'll be no tie then.
Well, there you see the graphic. Needs 2 strikes rather, to win the match.
Taking no time at all, stepping right up.
Well, you got to be decisive in this situation.
Correct. Tie.
And that'll do it. So Dick Weber gives it a run for the money, gets a handshake and a hug from his young partner, Mark McDowell. But it's the team of Mickey Spiezio and Rowdy Morrow who finally get themselves to the PBA winner's circle.
And their strategy paid off all the way. They thought properly. They made the turning player finish last and made the senior player finish on the opposite team, and that's what turned out to be the difference.
Well, you could almost see Dick, as soon as he let the shot go, realize that he just didn't project it the way he wanted to, and he still nearly ended up with a strike.
It almost set. It almost set.
Boy, how many times have you seen Weber get up there and throw a strike? And I know Dick has got to be disappointed, but at the same time, very pleased indeed with his performance this week. I know the fans have certainly enjoyed his play and Mark's play all week long. It was an exciting championship, and we'll be back, of course, to talk to the winners right after this.
So the champions here in the Kessler Senior Touring Pro Doubles Championship. Wow. The fans here really appreciating this championship, and it was tremendous. We'll bring out a gentleman now who has some very good news for you two guys. This, of course, is Angelo DeSallo, Vice President for the House of Seagrams. And, Angelo, I know you have some words and a large check for this winning team.
I certainly do. By the way, if you don't know it, this is their first win, their first major tournament. We're very pleased to be associated with this event. Kessler's been with the sport for about 10 years, and this is one of the finer finishes we've seen. On the behalf of Kessler Whiskey and the House of Seagram, we'd like to present you guys with this facsimile check. Now, in case you're wondering, there's a real one waiting at the end of the telecast. But a job well done and a fantastic finish. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelo. Well, we'll start first with Rowdy, perhaps, here. Your thoughts about the big check?
The first title is always the best. I'd really like to thank Kessler. We should appreciate having a great sponsor. And the whole South Strike and Spare, they did a great job. And I think Wisconsin fans are number one. They're very knowledgeable, and they're the greatest. Thank you.
Mickey, first PBA title for you, and you won it in just 4 years.
Well, I'm real happy about that, Danny. I had a great partner this week. We couldn't help but win with a bowler like Rowdy. He's great.
All right. Another fine gentleman stepping in, Jim Hartel, the president of the Wisconsin Bowling Proprietors, and he's got a gorgeous. Only brought one trophy in with you, huh? I know you've got a pair of them. You couldn't handle both of them.
They're too heavy. Rowdy, congratulations. It's been a great week. Mickey, great bowling, tremendous tournament. I'd like to thank all the fans in Wisconsin for coming out this week. We've had a great tournament, and we want to see these guys back. There you go.
All right. Oh, my, we got the whole family coming in now. The Spezio clan and, of course, Rowdy's mother and father. We're going to run out of approach here in a moment or so. Mike Durbin, now that we've got everybody out here, and it might be a little more difficult to get to a couple of guys, what about a question for Mickey Spezio, who wins his first title?
Well, we talked about it in the interview. Your strategy was to have Rowdy finish last, and you said that it was going to work, and you had confidence in him, and he did it, right?
Didn't I tell you that's the way I was going to do it? Rowdy was going to strike out the 10 and win it for us. That was my strategy, Mike.
Take all the pressure off of you and give it to him, huh?
Right. He's got more experience.
We'll be back with a final comment here from Red Carpet Lane, so stay tuned right after these messages. These two gentlemen will always remember the bowling fans in Wisconsin. Both of these fine gentlemen from the Midwest. There you saw the team that finished second, Weber, and
win a PBA tournament.